On Mo Salah, Jamie Carragher made the point the other week that he doesn't think that Mo Salah should be an automatic pick anymore. Possibly because of the recent form, as you said, he's still Mo Salah, but also because of his age, and there needs to be rotation. Perhaps I'm sure Mo would disagree with that point, but the one thing we do know for sure is that we'll be a month-ish where he's not here is Africa Cup of Nations Mo Salah. So could Wirtz be an option on the right as well as the left?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I think he can play there. Obviously, he can play there. But I just think with Salah, I think he's had a bit of a bruised ego. I think he's faced a bit of criticism he won't have liked. But I think he will, deep down, I think he's honest with himself, and he will be saying to himself, listen, I've dropped off. I haven't been up to the standards I'm used to, or the expectation that people expect me to perform in. And I think we spoke about it on the weekend. I think his goal against Brentford was a spark for him. I just think he'd had a bad spell, hadn't he? And he was facing criticism. That goal was just instinctive, and it was might have just sparked something. Villa, he was different class, and tonight he was a threat again.
There's so many players who'd been all off form,
and
Mo fell into that thing. So it wasn't just him. There was so many, and to pick him out is. He set the bar so high for Mo Salah, and you're looking at him, and yes, he's had a difficult time, but you can't lose faith in him just now. And I don't, because of what he brings and the assists and the goals. And I know people are saying, but this has been two performances where everybody has played, Mo Salah included. Lucas Digne, I don't know, is probably cartilage operation he'll probably have to have. He absolutely twisted him inside out. So that was, with a lot of players, that was Mo back, and you could see it and feel it. With his goal, I thought he'd go like that because of the criticism. He looked happy when he scored his goal. It was one of them, and I thought, go on, Mo, give it large, and it was lovely to see. But he's another one who has to give more. Everybody has to give more, but I wouldn't lose faith just yet. And I think Carragher was a bit harsh.
The manager's gonna. I mean, for Jurgen, it was quite easy because he was in his prime, wasn't he? And he was just ticking over the whole time Jurgen was here. I think for the new manager, Arne, I think that conversation's coming. I think.
Yeah, but don't forget, Mo's had criticism before. We remember him at West Ham. Him and Jurgen having set-tos on the toes. So it's not just been a new thing. And he's gone through barren spells for seasons. He'll go 4, 5, 6 games not scoring. People forget, and then all of a sudden he starts scoring again. Erling Haaland last season had really sort of long periods where he wasn't the same player. People saying, he's a flat track bully, but goal scorers, the cream always rises to the top.
But you've got to. I think he's at that point in his career and his age where they play a lot of football, so much football. They
got to rest in midweek.
Yeah. No, but I think that conversation, I think this manager, that's going to be a hard conversation because he's going to want to play every game, but you're going to have to manage him, and also you're going to have to look for the future. Mo Salah's not going to go forever, so you are going to have to experiment and have a little look at who can play on that right. Wirtz makes the ground running playing on the right. It's not to say that you're going to drop Mo Salah and play Wirtz there. It's just that in the future it's food for thought, and that's what might happen. That's how this team might evolve. We've lost Firmino, we've lost Mane. We found players to adapt into them positions, and a different dynamic a little bit, but time moves on. Players don't go forever, and as good as Mo Salah's been and is, he'll drop off at some point, and it's going to be under this manager, I think. So I think that conversation will be had, I think, with the manager.
The other thing about Salah, whilst we've talked about the players that are coming into the team, obviously players that have gone out of the team as well, and the transition that he is used to playing with Trent behind him, who is a very unique fullback. That we talked about, if you're bringing in Wirtz to play in the position that Szoboszlai played in, well, neither Bradley or Frimpong are the same type of player that Trent Alexander-Arnold is. So again, there's a little bit of tweaking to be done.
No, I get that, and Connor's a little bit different, but Connor is nearer to what Trent was than Jeremy, because Jeremy and Mo didn't seem to gel. But that will take time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in sort of 10, 15, 20 games. That maybe will come, but Connor understands Mo better, and is that and being back in the side helped Mo's game in the last couple of games. But I just think that some of the lads, and we're talking about Miller's Kirkes sort of learning to play the role. So with Connor, and he's not Trent, but And Connor's a better defender than Trent. I don't care. People can say, "Oh, no, don't say Trent can't defend." He couldn't, and he couldn't head the ball. Trent, he was like that. But what Trent gave us offensively was something. He was one of the best passers of the ball. So that got you by. Connor is a little bit different.
Yeah, listen, a ball at his feet, he's one of the best players in the world, Trent Alexander-Arnold, with his range of passing. What he can do is phenomenal. And statistically, Salah's receiving the ball from a full-back is down from when he played with Trent Alexander-Arnold, because obviously he played with 3 right-backs, but he hasn't received as many passes as what he receives off Trent. I think the thing with Trent is he can play that many different types of balls. Mo Salah was picking so many different balls up. It would be a ball over the top or a ball inside. I mean, he played one here last season, Trent, where he just bent it with the outside of his foot inside the full-back. Conor Bradley's not going to do that. So Mo's had to adapt. He's had to adapt and put himself in positions where he is going to receive it off Conor Bradley. Because Conor's not going to play that ball because he can't.
Well,
we can't do it.
I'm not so sure. I think he can do, and I think if you watch Northern Ireland, where he has a little bit more licence to sort of get forward and do things, he's unbelievable. Conor, he's like the best offensive player as being the best defender. So I think it will come.
I guess the thing is that, and I think we maybe saw it last season actually with Paris Saint-Germain in particular, that my theory is that the English clubs are far more desperate not to play those 2 extra games because the churn of the Premier League is so much tougher. That PSG, I think they played Brest in the playoff game, but they made huge changes in the Liga matches either side of it, whereas the Liverpools, the Arsenals, the Manchester Cities can't really afford to be making 7-8 changes for their Premier League game in between a potential playoff.
Yeah, it's a balance. It was an argument, wasn't it? The likes of Bayern, when they were getting to the latter stages of the Champions League, they'd sewn the league up in the Bundesliga by winning it by so many points that they were going into the Champions League latter stages and just off a little bit off it because they weren't getting challenged because they'd won the league. So, they weren't really competing at the top end of the Champions League. So there is that balance, isn't it? But you're right. I mean, listen, Paris, by the time we played them, they just clicked into gear. Dembele was scoring goals. Vitinha was unbelievable in midfield, and they just found the balance straight away. Enrique, I think, taking Mbappe out the equation as well certainly helped them, and in their quest for what they wanted to do as a team was just brilliant. Everyone just relaxed in the end. Dembele felt he was a big part of that Paris team, and his statistics went on and showed why he's won the Ballon d'Or. So yeah, we just played them at the wrong time, unfortunately. But
it is some of these teams in the lesser leagues. You're quite right, and that's where you're coming from. We can't afford to do that in this Premier League. We're going all the time as a chain. Bayern Munich they're now clicked into gear now for the last couple of seasons, and you go, they look a good outfit. And you look, but so they can rest players in theirs. Paris, oh my goodness, some of those teams, the dog and duck and all that. So
hello to all our French viewers.
Sorry about that. Yeah. But it's so easy for them in their league, and there's others who can sort of take it easy. We can't. We've got to go and go and go. So it's so important to finish in that top 8.
We do have the finances in the Premier League, though. I mean, if you look at the likes of Burnley and Brentford, they're competing against the teams in Europe for players. They now can go into the transfer market and buy anyone, outbid anyone, Sevilla or anyone. So, the teams in the Premier League do build squads to cope with that. But it's just a balance.
You still don't want those extra 2 games, do you?
No. Well, I don't know. You could play.
No.
You don't want them. He doesn't want them.
You're just thinking of an extra payday in here, are you?
Yeah. I was just thinking, we get paid again.
But it'd be interesting to see actually if Liverpool were to get 2 positive results against PSV and into before Christmas, how much importance Arne Slot would place on trying to be first, second or third, or whether then you suddenly get 2 games against Karabag and Marseille where he is making more wholesale changes. I'm not saying it's going to look like it did against Palace last week, but it might be.
Well, we did that against PSV, didn't we?
Yeah, and that was when it was. They definitely finished first or second.
We'd got it won.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, if you're in that top 2, you're going like that, you can rest all the players. It's literally like that for the last 2 games. But as good as we played, winning the first 7, still, you could only rest them for one game. It was that much. We were looking to try and finish, and then we got PSG.
Let's hope to avoid that this year. Let's hear from the Liverpool head coach, Arne, with Peter McDowell.
Well, boss, brilliant game, brilliant performance, brilliant result.
Yeah, against a very good team, like Villa, in a great run of form. Only lost once against Atletico Madrid. Played with their best players, hardly had an injury, so that was a difference compared to last season. But I think we had an outstanding performance. I think I can safely say our best performance this season.
Defensively, it was the platform, wasn't it? And they didn't really give them a sniff all night. You had the quality and the patience to provide it when you needed to.
Yeah, players gave a lot of energy, worked incredibly hard to keep them away from our half, and when we were in our own half, we were so tight and so aggressive in the duels that even these great individuals, because they are a very good team, very good manager, but they also have great individuals, we were able to keep them mainly away from our goal, and apart from one chance maybe in the first half, we hardly conceded anything.
Obviously a wonderful goalkeeping performance, or it might have been more goals tonight as well.
Yeah. Maybe that made the night even more special, because it was a great game to watch, I think, for everyone from start to finish, and that maybe also had to do with that the game was still exciting because it was only 1-0 in the end. So, but yeah, Courtois was unbelievable. The saves he made already in the first half, when I thought this ball is going in, I saw a few shots from Dominic. I was exactly in the line, but the way he saved them was already incredible. But in the second half, he had, from very close by or nearby, he made also a few unbelievable saves.
Confidence and momentum can go two ways, can't it? And we look at a team now that looks like us again, players playing well, players looking sharp again. That must give you so much confidence going into the weekend as well.
Yeah, it does. It does give us confidence, but it also tells us how small the margins are. It tells me how small the margins are, because in the Champions League we've scored 4 set pieces, conceded 0, and we're doing very well in the Champions League. In the Premier League we've conceded 5 and scored 0, and that is, apart from everything you do in open play, in pressing and with the ball, this is so crucial in football. And so hopefully we can bring our set piece form to the Premier League, and the same form, I think, from open play and in pressing we've had throughout the whole season, and the same in the Premier League as in the Champions League.
Just one on Connor as well, a seismic performance from him tonight. You know, as a Liverpool fan, to play as well as he has done back to back against Real Madrid, but just a wonderful night for him tonight. Yeah,
he played great last season as well, by the way, but then he had to go off after 80 minutes, and I was apart from his performance also very pleased that after 2 days of rest he was able to go again 90 minutes in this incredible intensity again against an incredible individual. They scored 26 goals in La Liga this season as a team, and 24 goal contributions from Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius. So we always knew we had to control these two, and that's not an easy job, but Connor did his job outstanding today.
Yeah, so far so good this week for Liverpool. Just a small matter of Manchester City to come.
Who? Another tough one. Listen, but again, they've set the bar and they've got to put in all the hard yards, and I totally expect them to get something out again.
You know, that target on your back, it's going to be there again on Sunday. And like Man City, who, you know, again, one of the massive teams, they're going to be so up for it. So we have to be ready again.
But the good news is, as Real Madrid make their departure here from Anfield just behind us, that certainly the last couple of games they have started to look more like the Liverpool that won the Premier League title last season.
Yeah, and we do. And they look more like the Man City that we know and have appreciated. So it's going to be a massive game. I'm looking forward to it. We're going into it sort of in great form.
Let's just point you in the direction of a couple of games actually to look forward to over the course of the weekend. Starting on Friday night, you can see the under-21s in action at West Ham. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff. We're on air just before that at 5 to 7. And then all eyes on the Etihad on Sunday afternoon. Manchester City against Liverpool. It has been a huge fixture in recent seasons. 4:30 kickoff. We are on air at 3:15. My thanks to Jason and to Tomo. Another good night for Liverpool against Real Madrid. Alexis Mac Allister seals the deal once again. Good night.